This starts in Musutafu, on a day that was supposed to be normal. The sky was soft blue. The city below was loud in a calm way. Trains ran on time. Screens showed smiling heroes. Kids in uniforms hurried past shops and crosswalks. Then the air above the main street made a sound that did not belong. It was not thunder. It was more like a tear. The space over the road split open like someone ripping a sheet. Wind sucked in, then blasted out. Paper flew. A billboard shook. People stopped mid-step, mouths open. Something fell out of the rip. A man hit the street hard, shoulder first, then rolled. He was short and broad. He wore a torn jacket and heavy boots. His hair was messy. His face was rough, with lines that looked older than they should. He popped up like he had practiced it 1,000 times. His eyes swept the street. Not in wonder. Not in fear, in a fast, sharp scan like he was counting exits. A car horn blared. A bus tried to stop too late. The bus slid. Its tires screamed. Its front end swung toward the sidewalk, where a mother held a small kid's hand. The mother froze. The kid froze. The man moved. He was there before the bus finished sliding. He grabbed the mother and the kid by their jackets. He yanked them back so hard they almost fell. He threw his own body between them and the bus. Metal scraped. Glass shattered. The bus slammed into a street pole instead of a person. The man took the hit too. His back smashed into the pole. His head snapped forward. For a half second, his legs wobbled. Then he straightened. People stared. Someone screamed late, like their voice arrived after their eyes did. The man's nose wrinkled. He smelled smoke from the bus. He smelled fear and sweat. He smelled cheap cologne. He smelled something sharp and wrong, like chemicals and old blood. Faint, but real. His gaze snapped left. A group of men in masks had rushed in from an alley. One of them had long, hard arms that stretched like rubber. Another had a mouth on his hand, biting at the air, laughing. A third made small stones lift off the ground and spin. "Yo!" the rubber-armed one shouted. "Everyone's looking up. Easy day." The masked men ran for bags, phones, wallets. People backed away. Some tried to record with their own phones. The man who fell from the sky stepped toward them. "Not today," he said. His voice was low, not heroic, not kind, just tired and dangerous. The rubber-armed man swung a fist that stretched out like a whip. It cracked into the stranger's face. The stranger's head turned. Blood sprayed from his lip. He looked back at the attacker, slow and calm. The attacker froze for a heartbeat. Then the stranger's knuckles twitched. 3 metal claws slid out from the back of each hand with a clean, sick sound. Not sparks, not light, just metal, real and sharp. People gasped. Someone dropped their phone. The masked men hesitated. They had seen blades before, but these blades were part of him, like he was built wrong on purpose. The rubber-armed man tried to smile. Okay, cool trick." The stranger moved again. He didn't swing wild. He stepped in close and hooked one set of claws under the attacker's forearm, not deep, just enough. The rubber arm went limp. The attacker yelled and stumbled back. The stranger turned and kicked the stone spinner in the stomach. Hard. The man flew backward into a trash bin. The third attacker, the one with the mouth hand, lunged. The mouth hand chomped down on the stranger's shoulder. Teeth sank in. The stranger didn't even flinch. He grabbed the attacker by the wrist. His other hand's claws lifted. The attacker's eyes went wide. "Wait!" The stranger stopped the claws a finger's width from the attacker's throat. He leaned close. "You bite again," he said, "and I don't stop." The attacker went still, like a scared dog. A strong wind swept down the street. Feathers flashed above. A shadow crossed the crowd. People looked up and saw a hero moving fast through the air. More footsteps came from the far end of the road. Sirens. Hero support vans. The stranger looked around, claws still out, blood on his mouth, his eyes narrowed at the sky tear that was already closing. He didn't look amazed he was somewhere new. He looked angry, and he looked trapped. Shota Aizawa arrived without drama. He didn't crash down, he didn't shout a name. He simply appeared at the edge of the crowd, scarf hanging loose, eyes half-lidded like he was bored. But his gaze was sharp. He took in the bus wreck, the frightened civilians, the masked men on the ground, and the stranger in the center with claws out. Aizawa saw a problem. Not a villain, not a hero. A problem that did not fit the rulebook. The stranger turned his head toward Aizawa before Aizawa even spoke. Aizawa noticed that. Good ears, Aizawa muttered. Hawks circled once overhead, far enough to stay safe, close enough to watch. His smile was easy, but his eyes didn't miss the claws. "Hey," Hawks called, voice light. "Mind putting the knives away, buddy? People are nervous." The stranger's nostrils flared. He looked at the crowd. He saw the mother hugging her kid. He saw the camera phones. He saw the heroes. He sighed like he was already tired of this world. The claws slid back into his hands with the same clean sound. That noise made the crowd shiver again. Aizawa stepped forward one pace. "You're coming with us." The stranger tilted his head. "And if I don't?" Aizawa's eyes opened wider. His hair lifted slightly, like a breeze was pushing it up. His quirk activated. Most people would feel it in their body. A sudden stop. A weird emptiness. The stranger felt nothing. He just stared. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. He held the stare longer, like he could force reality to obey him. Nothing changed. The stranger's split lip closed. The swelling around his cheek faded as they watched. In seconds, his skin looked almost normal again. Hawks's smile dropped a little, just a little. Aizawa lowered his chin. "Not a normal quirk," he said under his breath. The stranger wiped blood off his mouth with the back of his hand. "You got a lot of rules," he said. "I'm not here for rules." Aizawa's scarf twitched, ready. Then a big, warm voice cut through. "Everyone, please stay calm." All Might stepped into view. He was in his hero form, tall, broad, bright smile. Even his shadow looked confident. The crowd's fear eased, like someone turned down the volume. All Might looked at the stranger and didn't smile wider. He didn't fake friendliness. He simply held steady, like a wall. "You saved those people," All Might said. "Thank you." The stranger stared back. He didn't look impressed. He looked like he had seen symbols before. He looked like he knew symbols could break. "Yeah," the stranger said. "Didn't do it for you." All Might nodded. "That's fine." Aizawa watched this carefully. All Might used his best skill first, the ability to make dangerous moments feel safer. All Might gestured gently. "You're injured," the stranger snorted. "No." All Might's eyes flicked to the bus pole. "I watched you take a hit that would harm most people." The stranger's jaw tightened. He didn't deny it. He also didn't explain. All Might tried the next step. "May we speak somewhere quieter? We can help you, and we can also make sure you are not a danger to others." The stranger's shoulders tensed at the word danger. Aizawa saw it. Hawks saw it too. The stranger glanced at the alley where the masked men had come from. He sniffed again, like he was searching for that faint, wrong smell. Then he looked at All Might. "You want to talk?" he said. "Fine." Aizawa didn't relax. "You're not leaving our sight." The stranger showed a small, sharp grin. It wasn't friendly. "Try and stop me." All Might stepped between them like a calm referee. "Let's go." UA High wasn't just a school. It was a fortress, that pretended to be a school. The gates were high. Cameras tracked everything. Inside, the halls looked bright and clean, but the doors could lock like a bunker. The stranger noticed every camera. He also noticed every person who kept a hand near a weapon. They brought him to a secure room, not a jail cell, but close. A table, chairs, a medical kit, thick glass on one wall, quiet hum from hidden machines. Aizawa stood near the door. All Might stood in front of the stranger, hands open, posture relaxed. The stranger did not sit until he chose to. Nezu watched from behind the glass. Nezu looked like a small, cute animal, but his eyes had the calm of someone who had outthought people bigger than him for years. Recovery Girl waited nearby, ready to help if All Might asked. "All right," All Might said gently. "What is your name?" The stranger stared at him. "Logan." Aizawa's pen scratched in a small notebook. "Family name?" Logan's eyes flicked toward him. "No." Aizawa didn't push yet. He filed it away. All Might tried another angle. "Where are you from, Logan?" Logan leaned back, chair creaking under him. "Not here." Nezu's ears perked behind the glass. All Might nodded like that answer made sense. "You arrived through a tear in the air." Logan's face tightened. For a moment, the tough mask slipped, and something older showed through. Not fear. Something like anger at fate. "Yeah," he said. "That's how it happens sometimes." Aizawa's scarf moved slightly, even though there was no wind. His body stayed still, but he was ready. All Might pointed at the torn jacket. "Do you remember what happened right before you arrived?" Logan's eyes unfocused for a second. A quick flash in his mind. Cold metal. Bright lights. A room that smelled like bleach and pain. Voices saying his name like it was a code. His fists clenched. "Not talking about it," he said. All Might didn't argue. "All right." Aizawa leaned forward a little. "Those blades, are they part of your quirk?" Logan looked down at his hands. "They're part of me." Aizawa watched his fingers. "And the healing?" Logan's jaw worked. "Also part of me." Nezu's calm voice came through a speaker in the room. "Fascinating." A mutation type with rapid recovery? Logan's eyes snapped to the speaker. "Who's that?" All Might smiled lightly. "Our principal, Principal Nezu." Logan blinked once. "A talking mouse runs your school." Nezu's tone stayed cheerful. "I prefer principal." Aizawa didn't even react. He was used to it. All Might held back a laugh. The moment was small, but it loosened the air a little. Then Aizawa tested what he needed to test. He activated his quirk again, eyes locked on Logan. Logan felt Aizawa staring like a weight. He didn't know what it was, but he knew it was meant to control him. And it didn't. Logan's wounds still knitted. His heartbeat stayed steady. His senses stayed sharp. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. No effect. Nezu's voice softened. Thoughtful now. "Then your abilities may not follow the same rules as our quirks." All Might's smile faded. "That could mean you are truly from another place." Logan's gaze went hard. "Told you." Aizawa crossed his arms. "That doesn't make you safe." Logan's lips curled. "Safe isn't what I am." Silence. All Might leaned forward. "Logan, we protect people here. Heroes do. But we also have laws. Rules. Licenses." Logan stared like he was trying not to laugh. "You need permission to save someone?" Aizawa's voice stayed flat. "You need permission to use force." Logan's eyes narrowed. "You ever been in a real fight?" Aizawa's tired eyes didn't blink. "Yes." Logan studied him. He could smell the man's sweat. Not fear. Stress. Long nights. Responsibility. He didn't like Aizawa, but he respected the shape of him. All Might stepped in again before this became a wall. "We're not your enemy," All Might said. "But we have to know what we're dealing with. The public saw you heal in seconds. They saw your claws. Some people are scared. Some people are already making stories." Logan leaned back again. "Let them," Nezu spoke. "People fear what they cannot name." Logan's eyes flicked to the speaker again. "Then name me whatever you want." Aizawa's pen scratched again. "We will." All Might tried a different question. "Do you have a goal?" Logan's nostrils flared. He could still taste that strange smell from the street. And it was worse now, like it clung to his memory. "I want to know what pulled me here," he said. "And if someone did it on purpose, I want them." Aizawa's gaze sharpened. "Revenge?" Logan looked at him. "Justice. Call it whatever you want." All Might's expression stayed calm, but inside, he felt a pinch of worry. A man like this could help. He could also burn through a city if he lost control. "Are you going to hurt people to get answers?" All Might asked. Logan stared at the table for a second. His hands flexed. He remembered a lab. He remembered being strapped down. He remembered fighting out with blood on the floor. He looked up again. "I'm not here to hurt kids," he said. "Or civilians." Aizawa watched him, hunting for lies. Logan's smell told the truth. Not because he was pure, because he meant this part. Nezu spoke again. "UA can offer you temporary shelter, under observation. In return, you cooperate. We learn what you are. You learn where you are." Logan's eyes narrowed. "Observation," Aizawa added. "If you leave without notice, we treat you as a threat." Logan's mouth twitched. "You'd try." Aizawa's scarf rose slightly, not as a threat, as a reminder. All Might raised a hand. "Let's keep this peaceful." Logan looked at All Might again. The big smile, the steady voice, the way the room felt less tense when he spoke. Logan had met men like this. Not exactly, but close. People who wanted to be a light. Logan didn't trust lights. Lights made shadows easier to miss. Still, he let out a slow breath. "Fine," he said. "Temporary." Nezu sounded pleased. "Wonderful. We will assign you a room." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "And a tracker." Logan looked at him. "No." Aizawa didn't blink. "Yes." Logan leaned forward, fast. The chair legs scraped. "Try it and see what happens to your tracker." All Might stepped in again, voice firm now. "Logan." Logan stopped. Not because he was scared of All Might, because something in All Might's tone felt like a line. All Might spoke carefully. "If we cannot trust you, we cannot keep you here. And if we cannot keep you here, the government will try to take you somewhere else." Logan's jaw tightened. He understood that kind of somewhere else. Nezu added softly, "A place with fewer friendly faces." Logan sat back. He stared at the ceiling for a long second. Then he held out his hand, palm up, like he was surrendering something he hated. Aizawa pulled out a small device. "It's standard." Logan took it between two fingers. He looked at it. Then he crushed it. The plastic snapped. The tiny lights died. Aizawa's scarf twitched like a whip, but All Might lifted a hand quickly. Logan dropped the broken tracker on the table. "That's my answer." Nezu's voice was calm. "Then we adjust. No tracker, but constant supervision." Aizawa's eyes narrowed even more. "You don't get to set terms." Logan's eyes hardened. "I just did." All Might exhaled. "We can work with supervision." Aizawa didn't like it, but he also knew forcing it would turn this into a fight inside UA, and if that happened, students could get hurt. "Fine," Aizawa said, "but understand this. If you threaten my students, I will stop you, even if I have to do it the hard way." Logan stared at him. Then, to everyone's surprise, he gave a small nod. "Good," Logan said. "Because if anyone threatens kids, I stop them too." That line hit All Might in the chest, quiet and heavy, because it sounded like a promise, and it sounded like pain. Later, in a quieter hallway, All Might walked beside Aizawa. "He saved lives," All Might said. Aizawa's eyes stayed tired. "So do Storm's." All Might's smile was smaller now. "He didn't kill those criminals. He could have." Aizawa's gaze flicked to All Might. "Or he knew you were coming." All Might paused. Aizawa continued. "He's not under your control, and he is not under mine. If he snaps, there is no simple off switch." All Might's hand tightened on the rail for a second. Aizawa lowered his voice. "My quirk didn't work. That means we need other plans." All Might didn't argue. He just said, "We don't treat him like a villain." Aizawa's scarf moved like a living thing. "We treat him like an unknown weapon." All Might looked down the hall where Logan had been taken to a spare room. "He's a person," All Might said. Aizawa's voice stayed flat. "So are weapons sometimes." In a dark place far from UA, a screen flickered. A grainy video showed a man on a street, a bus crash, metal claws, healing skin. A soft laugh filled the room. A man sat in shadow, calm and patient. "All Might has found a new problem," All for One said, voice warm like he was talking about weather. Dr. Garaki leaned closer to the screen, eyes shining. "Regeneration," he whispered. "Not like ours. Not like normal quirks." All for One watched Logan's claws flash in the video. "Useful," he said. Garaki's hands trembled slightly with excitement. "If we could study him." All for One held up a finger. "We will." He leaned back, slow and confident. "Bring me the anomaly," he said. "And be careful." Garaki blinked. "Careful?" All for One smiled wider in the dark. "He looks like a man who has escaped cages before," he said. "And men like that do not forgive." UA tried to make it normal. They gave Logan clean clothes. He didn't thank them. He accepted them like he accepted rain. They offered him a phone to contact someone. He stared at it like it was a bug. "What is that?" he asked, even though he clearly knew what it was. His tone said he hated what it meant. "It's a phone," one staff member said carefully. Logan took it, turned it in his hand, then set it down like it might bite him. "No," he said, "not carrying that." Aizawa heard about it and didn't look surprised. Deku heard about it and looked confused. Bakugo heard about it and laughed. "What kind of caveman is this guy?" Todoroki heard about it and said nothing, but his eyes stayed on Logan longer than usual. Logan stayed under watch, always someone within sight. He paced sometimes, like a caged animal. He also listened. He listened to the school sounds, the laughter, the shouting, the footsteps that were still light because these were still kids. It made his chest feel tight. He hated that. He found the edge of a training field late in the day and stood there, hands in pockets, staring at the sky like he was waiting for it to tear again. Deku approached him slowly, like he was approaching an injured dog. Deku said. "Hi." Logan didn't turn. "You shouldn't sneak up on people, kid." Deku froze. I wasn't trying to." "I know," Logan said. He finally looked over his shoulder. "Your heart's loud. You're not a sneak." Deku's eyes widened. "You can hear?" Logan turned away again. "I hear a lot." Deku swallowed. "You saved those people." Logan shrugged. "They were in the way." Deku frowned. He didn't buy it. "You moved before you even thought." Logan's jaw tightened. For a second, it looked like he might snap. Then he said, quieter, "That's the point." Deku took a breath. "Are you a hero?" Logan let out a short, humorless laugh. "No." Deku's face fell. Logan added, "I'm just someone who doesn't like watching people get hurt." Deku looked up at him again, hope returning like a small light. "That sounds like a hero." Logan stared at the training field. "In my world, heroes end up dead, or used, or both." Deku didn't know what to say. Logan's eyes stayed hard, but his voice softened in a rough way. "This place," he said, nodding at UA. "It's too clean." Deku looked around. "We train hard." Logan snorted. "Not what I mean." He smelled the kids. Their fear, yes, but also their hope. Logan didn't trust hope. Hope made people stand still when they should run. The next morning, UA planned a controlled evaluation. Not a fight. A check. Aizawa stood on the sidelines with Nezu and All Might. Logan stood in the middle of a training zone, hands relaxed, eyes bored. A staff member rolled out a few machines and sensors. "We want to see how your abilities work," she said. Logan's eyes narrowed. "No needles." Nezu's voice came through a speaker. "No needles. For now." Logan's stare snapped to the speaker again. "I heard that for now." Nezu sounded amused. "You did?" They tested simple things first. A weight. Logan lifted it. He was strong, but not like All Might. Still, he lifted more than a normal man. They tested speed. He was fast in short bursts, not like Ida in a straight run, but fast in close steps. They tested senses in a safe way. A sound played in another room. Logan turned his head right away. They tested the claws with a thick metal plate. Logan didn't want to show them, but Aizawa's eyes stayed on him. Steady. All Might said quietly, "Only if you are comfortable." Logan stared at the metal. Then he extended the claws. He dragged them across the plate. The sound was like a scream made of steel. Lines appeared. Deep ones. Aizawa's eyes tightened. Nezu's tone turned serious. "That material is reinforced." Logan's claws kept moving. The plate split. Not melted. Not exploded. Just cut. Silence. Bakugo watched from a distance with a few students and scoffed, but his eyes had changed. He could tell those claws were not for show. All Might felt a cold worry in his stomach. Because this wasn't just sharp. This was cuts things that should not be cut. Aizawa asked the key question again. "Are you going to follow rules here?" Logan retracted the claws. He looked at Aizawa like he was looking at a wall. "I follow my rules," Logan said. Aizawa's scarf lifted slightly. "That's not enough." Logan's eyes hardened. "It's all you get." All Might stepped in before the room broke again. "Then we build trust," All Might said, slowly. Logan's eyes flicked to him. "Trust is earned." All Might nodded. "Yes." It didn't take long for the world outside UA to react. Reports leaked. A new quirk user, a metal claw vigilante. Some people called him a hero. Some called him a monster. And villains listened. A few days later, UA arranged a supervised off-campus exercise. Not far. Not risky. Just a rescue drill with teachers present. Class 1A traveled in a bus with Aizawa. Pro heroes were on standby nearby. Logan was there too, under watch, because UA wanted him close and controlled. Logan hated the bus. It smelled like kids and plastic and old snacks. Bakugo kept staring at him like he wanted to start a fight. Deku kept glancing like he wanted to ask 100 questions. Todoroki watched quietly, like he was reading Logan's face. Aizawa sat up front, eyes half open, but listening to everything. Logan stared out the window. The city passed by. Logan's senses picked up something faint. That same wrong smell. He sat straighter. Aizawa noticed. "What?" Logan didn't answer right away. The bus turned into a training area that looked like a small city block. Fake buildings, wide streets, emergency props. Students got out, excited, ready to practice. Logan got out and sniffed the air again. The wrong smell was stronger here. He looked at Aizawa. "You got trouble." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. He didn't dismiss it. He trusted his own instincts, and he could tell Logan's were real. "All students," Aizawa called, voice sharp. "Stay close. Change of plan." Bakugo clicked his tongue. What now? Deku's stomach tightened. He remembered the street, the claws, the healing. Then the first explosion hit, not a huge one. A controlled blast at the far end of the training block. A fake building collapsed in a way that was too real. Students screamed. Some jumped back. A second blast hit another side. Smoke rose. Not training. Smoke. Real smoke. Aizawa's scarf whipped out. "Protect the civilians," he shouted out of habit, even though there were no civilians supposed to be here. But there were civilians. Logan saw them. A few maintenance workers, a support team member, people who weren't part of the class. Villains had waited for this moment. Masked figures poured in from hidden points. Their quirks flashed. One made sticky gel shoot like glue. Another made shockwaves with stomps. "Class 1A," Aizawa barked. "Evacuation and rescue! Deku, Todoroki, Bakugo!" Logan was already moving. "Logan, wait!" All Might's voice came through an earpiece somewhere nearby. Urgent. Logan didn't have an earpiece. He didn't want one. He ran straight toward the screams. A villain with gel shot it at him like a net. The gel covered Logan's chest and arms, trying to lock him down. Logan didn't stop. He flexed, hard, muscles straining, and the gel tore. The villain blinked. "What?" Logan hit him with a shoulder. The villain flew into a wall and dropped. Deku saw it and felt a chill. This wasn't careful. This wasn't pretty. It was fast. It was direct. It was effective. Bakugo snarled, Show off!" Then the ground shook. A shadow dropped from above. It landed in the street like a boulder. A creature stood up slowly. It was tall and thick. Its skin was dark and tough. Its arms were huge. Its face looked stitched, wrong in a way that made Deku's blood run cold. A Nomu. But this one moved with purpose. Not wild. Not mindless. It turned its head and locked on Logan like it had been built for him. Deku's breathing sped up. They brought that here on purpose. Aizawa's eyes went wide. "Everyone back!" Logan stared at the Nomu. He didn't look scared. He looked angry, like he recognized the idea of a made creature. He spoke quietly. "Yeah." "There it is!" The Nomu lunged. It was fast for its size, faster than most people would expect. It grabbed Logan around the waist and slammed him into the road. Concrete cracked. Deku flinched. Bakugo's eyes widened. Todoroki's breath caught. Logan's head bounced off the ground. Then Logan's claws snapped out. He stabbed upward into the Nomu's forearm, deep enough to break its grip. The Nomu roared and yanked back, trying to pull away. Logan used the pull. He rolled, planted his boots, and dragged the Nomu off balance. He didn't throw it like All Might would. He moved it like a wrestler, using weight and timing. The Nomu hit a building wall and crushed part of it. Aizawa's scarf shot forward to snag Logan's shoulder and yank him back. "Don't!" Aizawa snapped. "Students are here." Logan yanked free like the scarf was a rope, and he was stronger than it should be. He turned his head slightly. "Then move them!" Aizawa's eyes burned with frustration. He activated his quirk and stared at the Nomu. The Nomu didn't shut off. It didn't slow. Aizawa felt cold. "No effect," he muttered. Deku heard that and felt fear spike. If Aizawa couldn't erase it, this was not normal. The Nomu charged again. Logan met it. The Nomu swung a fist like a wrecking ball. Logan ducked under it, claws flashing up to slice at the inside of the elbow. Not a kill shot, a control cut. The Nomu's arm jerked wrong. It still hit Logan with the other hand. Logan flew into the street and skidded. Deku saw Logan's ribs push under his skin like they were broken. Then, in seconds, the ribs slid back into place. Deku's mouth went dry. He's healing right in front of us! Bakugo clenched his fists. That's cheating. Logan stood up, shoulders rolling, like pain was just a loud noise he ignored. The Nomu stomped, making a shockwave that cracked windows. Students stumbled. Todoroki threw up ice to block debris. Deku moved to help a support worker who had fallen. Aizawa barked orders, trying to keep this from turning into a slaughter. And then Logan did something that made everyone pause. He stepped in front of the students. He planted his feet. He looked back at Aizawa. "Get them out," he said, like it was not a request. Aizawa stared at him for one beat. Then Aizawa snapped into action, because that's who he was. "Class 1A, fall back! Protect the workers! Move!" Bakugo growled, but he moved. Deku moved too, heart pounding. Todoroki moved, eyes still locked on Logan. The Nomu rushed Logan again. Logan let it come. At the last second, he slid to the side and jammed his claws into the Nomu's thigh, deep enough to slow it, not deep enough to chop it off. The Nomu roared and swung its elbow back. Logan took the hit and got smashed into a wall. The wall cracked around him. Dust filled the air. Deku felt sick. No one should survive that. Logan stepped out of the dust anyway. His face was bruised. His eyebrow was split. Blood ran into his eye. Then the cut sealed. Logan wiped his face and spat. "Is that all?" he growled. The Nomu paused. It tilted its head like it was thinking. Then its body shifted. Its skin hardened more. Its muscles bulged. Deku's eyes widened. "It's adapting." Aizawa's stomach dropped. It was designed. From a rooftop, a masked villain watched through binoculars. In an earpiece, a calm voice spoke. "Record everything." The villain swallowed. "He's not going down." The voice chuckled. "He doesn't need to go down. He needs to be understood." Logan felt the Nomu's pattern. It wasn't random. It was testing him, pushing, watching how fast he healed, watching how he moved. That made Logan more angry than the punches, because it reminded him of tables and straps and men with clipboards. He rushed forward faster than the Nomu expected. He ducked under a swing, got in close, and raked his claws across the Nomu's chest. Sparks flew. Not from the Nomu's skin, from something inside it. Metal. Logan's eyes narrowed. "You got hardware in you too." The Nomu grabbed him again, trying to hold him still. Logan drove his forehead into the Nomu's face. Once, twice. The third time, the Nomu's head snapped back. Logan used that moment to twist, then plunge his claws into the Nomu's shoulder joint. He pulled. The arm popped out of place. The Nomu roared, staggering. Logan didn't celebrate. He scanned the street. A falling piece of building was about to crush a support worker. Logan left the Nomu mid-fight. He sprinted and shoved the worker out of the way. The debris slammed into Logan's back. It pinned him. Dust and concrete buried him. Deku's eyes widened. "Logan!" Bakugo started forward without thinking, then stopped. Teeth clenched. He hated that he cared. Todoroki stepped up, ice ready. Aizawa's scarf whipped out to pull rubble away. Then the rubble moved on its own. A hand shoved up. Then another. Logan pushed himself out like he was crawling from a grave. He stood, breathing hard, eyes wild. The Nomu lunged again. This time, Logan didn't dodge. He met it head-on. The Nomu's fist smashed into Logan's chest. Logan's bones cracked. Logan's claws drove straight into the Nomu's stomach. Deep. The Nomu froze. Logan leaned in close, face inches from the Nomu's. His voice was low. "I've fought things like you," he said. "You're not special." He twisted the claws, not for gore, but to break what was inside. The Nomu staggered back, coughing a harsh sound. Its body tried to heal, but something slowed it. Its skin rippled like it couldn't decide what to be. Deku watched, shaking. This wasn't a hero fight. This was a survival fight. Aizawa saw it too, and his mind raced. If he ever turns this on us. But then Aizawa also saw Logan place himself between the Nomu and the students again. Logan looked like a monster in that moment, and he was still choosing to protect. Aizawa's scarf snapped out again, not to restrain Logan, but to grab a falling beam away from a student. Todoroki built an ice wall to shield the evacuation path. Deku helped carry a worker whose leg was hurt. Bakugo blasted debris away, eyes sharp, jaw tight. The class moved like a team because Aizawa trained them to, and Logan fought like a lone animal because life trained him to. The Nomu suddenly turned and ran. It wasn't fear, it was orders. It smashed through a wall and leapt into the smoke, retreating toward a hidden exit point. Logan's eyes narrowed. No! He sprinted after it. Aizawa shot his scarf out and caught Logan's wrist for a split second. "Don't chase," Aizawa snapped. "It's a trap," Logan yanked free. "It already is." He followed the Nomu into a half-collapsed building. Inside, the air smelled like chemicals and old blood again. Stronger now. Logan's heart beat harder. The Nomu crashed through a back door and into a service tunnel. Logan followed, claws out, senses sharp. Then something hit him in the neck, a small dart. Logan ripped it out instantly, but the liquid inside was already in him. His body fought it at once. He felt heat spread through his veins. His healing didn't stop. But for the first time since he arrived, it slowed. Not much, just enough to notice. Logan's eyes went wide with cold anger. "Cute," he growled. The Nomu kept moving, leading him deeper. Logan stopped himself. He sniffed the air. He smelled more people ahead, not just the Nomu. Ambush. He turned and sprinted back the way he came. He burst out into daylight again. Aizawa saw him and felt a sharp relief he didn't want to admit. "Where is it?" Aizawa demanded. "It's running," Logan said, "and someone just tried to drug me." All Might arrived then, landing hard at the edge of the street, face serious. He looked at the damage, the smoke, the shaken students. He looked at Logan's torn clothes and fresh bruises that were already fading. All Might's eyes narrowed. "This was aimed at you." Logan stared at the smoke trail where the Nomu escaped. "Yeah," Logan said. "I know." Deku stepped closer, still breathing hard. "Why would they want you?" Logan didn't answer right away. He stared at the broken buildings and the scared workers. Then he looked down at his hands. He flexed his fingers once. His claws slid out a little, then back in. He spoke like the words tasted bad. "In my world," he said, "people like to take things that heal." Bakugo scoffed, but his voice shook just a little. "So what? You're some kind of lab freak?" Logan's head snapped toward him. For a second, the air felt sharp. Then Logan's face tightened, and he looked away instead of attacking a kid. "Watch your mouth," he said. Low. All Might stepped forward, calm but firm. "Logan!" Logan took a breath. He didn't calm down fully. He just controlled it. He looked at All Might, then at Aizawa, then at the kids. "Name's Logan," he said. "That's all you get." He paused. Then he added, quieter, almost like he hated admitting it. "Some people called me Wolverine." The word landed heavy. Deku repeated it in his head. Wolverine. It sounded like an animal. It sounded like a warning. In the distance, sirens grew louder as more heroes arrived. Above them, a news helicopter hovered. A voice on a loudspeaker called out, "Citizens, Please stay calm. A dangerous, unknown combatant was seen engaging a Nomu. Logan's eyes narrowed at the helicopter. He picked up the cracked phone a worker had dropped earlier. He stared at it like it was an enemy. Then he tossed it aside and walked away from the cameras, shoulders tight. Aizawa watched him go, mind racing with plans. All Might watched him go, heart heavy with concern. And far away, in a dark room, someone smiled at the new footage, because now they had what they wanted most: proof, data, and a clear target. The anomaly was real, and the world would not be the same. UA tried to clean up the mess fast. Workers fixed broken walls. Teachers moved students into calm rooms. Medics checked everyone for cuts and shock. The school did what it always did after danger. It acted like it could put a lid on chaos. But outside the gates, the world was already boiling. On big screens in the city, the same clip played again and again. A black shape dropping into a training block. A man with metal claws taking hits that should have killed him. A Nomu turning and escaping like it had a job. The news anchors talked fast. An unknown combatant. Possibly a new quirk. Unlicensed. Foreign. Dangerous. In the teacher's room, Shota Aizawa watched the footage with his arms crossed. He didn't watch it like a viewer. He watched it like a man building a map in his head. All Might stood near the window. He was quiet. The smile he wore for children was not on his face right now. Nezu's small paws rested on the table. His expression was polite. His eyes were not. The reaction is splitting, Nezu said. Some are calling him a hero. Some are calling him a threat. Aizawa didn't look away from the screen. Both are correct. All Might turned to him. He protected the students. He protected them in his way, Aizawa said. And his way is sharp. All Might's voice stayed gentle, but there was steel under it. Aizawa, we don't punish people for how they look. Aizawa finally looked at All Might. I'm not talking about his face. I'm talking about his habits. His first choice is violence. His second choice is also violence. It just happens to be pointed in the right direction right now. Nezu tapped the table once, calm. The bigger issue is the Nomu. It was brought in with a plan. All Might's jaw tightened. A plan aimed at Logan. And our students were in the middle, Aizawa said. A heavy silence followed. Then the door opened. Hawks walked in like he owned the air itself. His wings folded behind him, neat and relaxed. He wore his normal easy grin, but his eyes were busy. Hey, Hawks said. So, the commission wants to talk. All Might's shoulders stiffened. The Hero Public Safety Commission. Hawks lifted both hands in a friendly way. Yep, they're not asking. They're sending a suggestion. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. What kind of suggestion? Hawks shrugged. The kind that sounds like an order, but uses polite words. Nezu's smile stayed the same. And what do they want exactly? Hawks leaned back against the wall. They want to classify him, label him, track him. If they can't, they want him moved to a secure facility. All Might's face hardened. He's not a prisoner. Hawks's grin softened. I know. You know. But the public is scared. And scared people like chains. Aizawa looked away again, tired. So they send you. Hawks pointed at himself. Me, the friendly one. Nezu's ears twitched. You will be their eyes. Hawks's grin returned, but it didn't reach his eyes this time. Yeah. All Might stepped closer. Keigo, please remember, he is a person. Hawks nodded once, small. I'll remember. I'm just saying what they want. Aizawa's scarf lay still around his neck. We don't hand him over, Hawks exhaled. Then we need a plan, a real one. All Might glanced toward the hallway, toward the spare room where Logan stayed under supervision. He's going to hate any plan. All Might said quietly. Aizawa answered without hesitation. Then we make a plan that doesn't rely on his cooperation. Nezu's eyes gleamed. And we make a plan that keeps our students safe. Hawks pushed off the wall. Cool. Then I'm going to talk to him. Aizawa's eyes sharpened. You're not alone. Hawks's smile came back. Wouldn't dream of it. Logan sat on the edge of a bed that was too clean. Yue's spare room smelled like soap and new sheets. It smelled like a place built to calm people down. It didn't calm him. He stared at his hands. He flexed them. His knuckles were rough. The skin was healing from a dozen small cuts already. Someone had offered him a hero costume. He had laughed once. Not because it was funny. Because it was stupid. A knock came at the door. Logan didn't answer. The door opened anyway. All Might stepped in first. He moved like he was trying not to be too big. Aizawa came in next. He moved like a shadow that didn't care who liked him. Hawks came in last, smile on, like he was walking into a fan meeting. Logan's eyes narrowed at Hawks at once. You're loud, he said. Hawks blinked. Loud? Logan pointed at his own nose. You smell like perfume and secrets. Hawks laughed softly. Ouch. Aizawa's eyes stayed flat. We need to talk. Logan leaned back against the wall. Talk. All Might spoke first. The public saw what happened. People are asking questions. Logan snorted. Let them. Hawks stepped forward a little, hands in pockets. They want you registered. Like, officially. Paperwork. A license. A label. Logan's stare hardened. No. Hawks kept his tone light. It's just how things work here. Logan's voice went low. I don't care how it works here. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. You're in our world now. Logan pushed up from the bed and stood, not in a threat pose. Just standing like a man who refused to be smaller. All right, Logan said. Then tell your world to keep its hands off me. All Might lifted a calm hand. Logan, please listen. The commission is worried. They may act. Logan's jaw clenched. They can try. Hawks's smile faded a little. You don't get it. They don't try with their own hands. They try with cages. The word hit Logan like a punch. For a second, his eyes went distant. Cold lights, metal straps, a voice saying, hold him still. Logan's hands curled into fists. Aizawa noticed at once. All Might noticed too. All Might kept his voice steady. We want to keep you safe. Logan barked a short laugh. Safe. Hawks leaned his head to the side. Look, tough guy, you can hate us. You can hate the rules. But if the commission decides you're a risk, they'll move. And they'll move fast. Logan stared at Hawks. Are you threatening me? Hawks shook his head. No, I'm warning you. There's a difference. Logan's claws slid out halfway without him meaning to. Just the sound filled the room, sharp and final. Aizawa's scarf lifted like a living thing. All Might's eyes sharpened. Logan. Logan breathed out slowly. The claws slid back in. He looked away from all of them. I'm not staying in a cage. Aizawa's voice softened by a tiny amount, the smallest possible change. Then don't act like someone who needs one. Logan snapped his gaze back. I didn't start this. Aizawa held it. But you will finish it your way if you're not careful. Hawks stepped in again, gentler. What do you want, Logan? Like right now. Not in the big picture. Today. Logan's nostrils flared. He smelled the wrong chemical scent again, even here, faint on his clothes like it had stuck to him in the tunnel. I want answers, he said. All Might nodded. About the tear in the sky. Logan's eyes sharpened. About who's behind this? Nezu's voice came through a speaker in the room, calm and pleasant. We also want that. Logan's head snapped toward the speaker. You're always listening. Nezu sounded cheerful. Only when it matters. Logan muttered something under his breath that sounded like an insult. Hawks chuckled. See? He's adapting already. Aizawa didn't smile. We need to know if you're going to run. Logan stared at him. I'm not your student. Aizawa answered. No. You're a problem the villains are aiming at. That makes you our problem. All Might added. And that makes you part of our responsibility. Logan stared at All Might, and the anger didn't find a place to land. All Might wasn't pushing, he wasn't grabbing, he was offering. It made Logan uncomfortable. Logan looked down, then back up. If you try to put a tracker on me again, he said, I'll break it. Hawks lifted a finger. Okay, but please don't break me. Logan gave him a flat look. Hawks raised both hands. Kidding. Mostly. All Might took a slow breath. We can do supervision. No tracker. But you stay near UA until we understand more. Logan's eyes narrowed. And if I leave? Aizawa's eyes were cold. Then we assume the worst, and we respond. Logan's jaw worked. He didn't like it. But he also didn't like being hunted in a strange world alone. He spoke through his teeth. Fine. For now. All Might nodded. Thank you. Hawks leaned in, smiling again. Great. Step 1. Do not punch the cameras. They're expensive. Logan's stare turned sharp. Cameras? Hawks pointed out the window toward a small UA drone hovering in the air near the building. Wave. Logan stared at the drone. Then he reached up and flicked it with one finger. The drone spun out of the air and crashed into a bush outside. Aizawa's eyebrow twitched. All Might closed his eyes for a second, like he was praying for patience. Hawks let out a long breath. Okay, so, step 1 needs work. That night, Deku couldn't sleep. He sat at his desk with a notebook open. He had written Logan at the top, then scratched it out, then wrote Wolverine with a question mark. He wasn't doing it to be rude. He was doing it because his brain tried to organize everything. Logan's healing didn't look like any quirk he knew. The claws were real metal. The way he fought was not like heroes. It was like survival. Deku's door creaked open. Todoroki stepped in, quiet as always. You're awake, Todoroki said. Deku looked up. Yeah, I can't stop thinking. Todoroki's eyes drifted to the notebook. About him, Deku nodded. He protected us, but he scares me. Todoroki sat on the edge of the bed across from him. Both can be true. Deku swallowed. Do you think he's good? Todoroki stared at the wall. I don't think he cares about being seen as good. I think he cares about stopping pain. Deku's eyebrows pulled together. That sounds like All Might. Todoroki's voice stayed calm. All Might smiles while he does it. Logan doesn't. Deku tapped the notebook with his pen. He looked angry. Like he hated being watched. Todoroki's eyes narrowed slightly. People who were trapped hate being watched. That line made Deku's stomach tighten. He lowered his voice. Do you think villains will come again? Todoroki answered right away. Yes. Deku's hand tightened on the pen. Then we have to get stronger. Todoroki looked at him. Yes. Deku hesitated. And we have to decide what to do with him. Todoroki's gaze turned steady. Or we let him decide. Deku didn't like that answer, because letting Logan decide felt like holding a lit match and hoping it stayed calm. In a dark room far away, All for One watched new footage. The camera angle was high, shaky, but clear enough. Logan's claws cut into the Nomu. Logan's ribs broke and healed. Logan sprinted like an animal with a purpose. Dr. Garaki stood beside All for One, breathing fast like he was excited. Amazing, Garaki whispered. The healing is constant, even under strain, even under shock. All for One's voice was warm. It is not a quirk in the normal sense. Garaki nodded quickly. It may be something deeper, something woven into every cell. If we could isolate it, All for One lifted a hand. We will not rush. Garaki blinked, but All for One's smile widened. Rushing is how you break valuable things. Garaki swallowed. All for One leaned forward slightly. He has trauma, he has rage, and he has a weakness. Garaki tilted his head. A weakness? All for One tapped the screen where Logan ran toward civilians. He cannot ignore the helpless. Garaki's eyes lit up again. Then we use hostages? All for One's tone turned almost gentle. No, that is crude. He pointed at Logan's face on screen. We use something sharper. Garaki leaned in, listening. All for One's smile became quiet and dangerous. We use the promise of answers, the promise of home, the promise of control. Garaki's lips parted in awe. He will come. All for One nodded. And we will be careful. Garaki shifted, restless. We already tried the dart. It slowed him. All for One's voice stayed calm. Good. Keep improving it. But don't depend on it. Garaki's fingers twitched. Why not? All for One's smile did not change. Because men like him have survived worse than science. Garaki stared. All for One leaned back, relaxed. Send a message. Not to Yue. To him. Garaki hesitated. How? All for One's smile returned to warm. Through the kind of people who cannot keep secrets. The next day, Yue held a meeting that wasn't called a meeting. It was called a safety briefing, but everyone knew what it was. All Might stood in front of the class. Aizawa leaned against the wall. Present Mike wasn't joking. Even he looked serious. Nezu's voice came through a speaker again. We have a new factor in our environment, Nezu said. Bakugo scoffed. You mean the claw guy? Aizawa's eyes snapped to him. Bakugo shut up, but only barely. All Might spoke gently. His name is Logan. Kirishima raised a hand slowly. Is he a hero? All Might paused. Not in the way you mean. Uraraka's eyes were wide. But he saved people. Aizawa answered, flat. And he could also cause harm if this goes wrong. That's why we keep distance and follow instructions. Deku swallowed and raised his hand. Are villains targeting him? All Might's gaze sharpened. Yes. The room went quiet. Todoroki's eyes narrowed. Bakugo's jaw tightened like he hated that the answer mattered. All Might continued. That means they may target Yue. Mina's voice was small. So, what do we do? Aizawa pushed off the wall. You train. You listen. You don't act on your own. His eyes swept the room. And if you see Logan, you don't provoke him. Bakugo's eye twitched. Tch! Aizawa's stare pinned him. Bakugo. Bakugo's lips pulled back. Fine. All Might spoke again, softer. Logan is not your enemy, but he is not your friend yet either. Deku felt his chest tighten. He understood. It was the worst kind of situation. One where everyone had to be careful, but nobody wanted to feel like a coward. Later that afternoon, Hawks found Logan outside near a training field. Logan stood by a fence, watching students train from a distance like a wolf watching a campfire. Hawks landed lightly on the grass beside him. Hey, Hawks said. Logan didn't look over. You again. Hawks grinned. You say that like it's a bad thing. Logan's voice stayed flat. It is. Hawks nodded like he accepted it. Fair. He leaned on the fence beside Logan, pretending they were just two guys watching sports. I'm supposed to make you like me, Hawks said. Logan finally looked at him. You failing on purpose? Hawks laughed. No, that's just my natural charm. Logan's stare said he didn't care. Hawks's smile softened. Look, the commission is nervous. They want control. Logan's shoulders stiffened. Hawks noticed and lowered his voice. But you're not the only one being watched. UA is being watched too. Logan turned his head toward the city. I didn't ask for this, Hawks nodded. I know. Logan looked back at him. So why are you here? Hawks' eyes narrowed slightly. Because I'd rather be the guy who talks to you than the guy who gets sent to bring you in. Logan stared. Hawks continued. And because I think you're not a bad guy. Logan let out a short breath. Don't. Hawks blinked. Don't what? Don't put a label on me, Logan said. Good. Bad. Hero. Monster. I don't care. Hawks looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Okay. He pointed at the students training. You care about them, though. Logan's gaze flicked to the kids without meaning to. A student stumbled. Another helped them up. A teacher corrected posture. Logan's jaw tightened. They're kids. Hawks' voice stayed soft. Yeah. Logan's eyes narrowed. This world puts kids in fights. Hawks shrugged. But it didn't feel light. This world also puts kids in graves if we don't train them. Logan looked away again, anger simmering. Hawks' tone changed. Serious now. I need you to hear this. Someone is going to try to pull you away from UA. Logan's eyes sharpened. Who? Hawks shrugged lightly. Could be the League. Could be someone above them. Logan sniffed the air. I already smelled the lab stink. Hawks stiffened. Lab stink? Logan's voice went low. Chemicals. Old blood. That Nomu wasn't the only thing built. Hawks' smile disappeared. Okay, that's not good. Logan's eyes stayed hard. No, it's not. Hawks hesitated, then pulled out a small device from his pocket. Logan's eyes snapped to it. Put it away. Hawks held it up, quick. Not a tracker. It's a burner phone. No GPS, just a line. Logan stared like it offended him. Hawks set it on the fence, not in Logan's hand. If something happens, call this number. It goes to me. Logan didn't touch it. Hawks tried to smile again. Think of it as a feather. You don't have to keep it. But if you fall, it might help. Logan gave him a look that could cut steel. Hawks raised his hands. Okay. Too poetic. My bad. He pushed off the fence. Just don't disappear without telling someone. If you do, the wrong people will decide the story. Logan's eyes narrowed. The story? Hawks' grin returned, faint. Yeah. People here love stories. Heroes, villains, symbols. Your face is already on screens. Logan's jaw tightened like he wanted to punch a screen. Hawks paused before he took off. Oh, one more thing. Logan didn't respond. Hawks lowered his voice to almost nothing. If someone offers you answers, be careful. People don't offer answers for free. Then Hawks lifted into the air and flew away like a red streak. Logan stayed by the fence. The burner phone sat on the fence rail like a dare. Logan stared at it. Then he walked away without taking it. But he also didn't crush it. Not yet. That evening, a small incident happened near the outer gate. A low-level villain tried to sneak onto school grounds disguised as a delivery worker. They had a fake badge, a fake smile, and shaking hands. Security caught them fast. Aizawa's scarf wrapped around the person's arms in one clean move, pinning them. The villain started yelling. I'm just delivering! Aizawa dragged them into a quiet room. All Might stood nearby, arms crossed, watching. The villain looked between them, sweating hard. I don't want trouble, the villain stammered. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Then why are you here? The villain swallowed. A message. All Might stepped closer. For who? The villain's eyes flicked toward the hall. They spoke the name like it burned. For Logan. Aizawa's face didn't change, but inside his mind, alarms went off. What message? Aizawa said. The villains squeezed their eyes shut. They said, if I don't give it, they'll kill me. All Might's expression tightened. Who is they? The villain shook their head fast. I don't know. I swear. A voice. A man in the dark. He said the Claw Man would understand. Aizawa leaned closer. Say it. The villain's lips trembled. He said, you want answers? Come find the place where they make monsters. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Where? The villain fumbled in their pocket with their teeth clenched and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Aizawa snatched it and opened it. It held a simple address. Industrial District. A building marked as abandoned. A time. Midnight. All Might's jaw tightened. Aizawa's voice went cold. It's a trap. The villain nodded rapidly, tears in their eyes. Yeah, it is. That's why, please don't let him go. Please don't. Aizawa's scarf loosened slightly, just enough to keep the villain breathing. All Might stared at the paper. Aizawa looked toward the hallway, toward the direction Logan was in. He already knew the answer to the next problem, because men like Logan did not ignore traps, not when traps promised answers. Logan smelled the fear before he saw them. He walked into the quiet room without knocking. He saw the villain tied up. He saw All Might. He saw Aizawa holding a paper. Logan's eyes narrowed. What? Aizawa held up the paper. Someone came to deliver this. Logan's nostrils flared. He smelled the same wrong chemicals on the paper. He reached for it. Aizawa pulled it back. No. Logan's eyes hardened. Give it. All Might stepped between them. Logan, please. Logan's jaw worked like he was chewing on rage. This is about me. Aizawa's voice stayed flat. It's also about my students. If you walk into a trap and drag danger back here, it becomes about them. Logan's stare burned. You think I want to bring danger to kids? Aizawa held his gaze. I think you want answers more than you want rules, and that can get people hurt. Logan's claws slid out a little, not all the way. All Might's voice sharpened. Logan! Logan's breathing was slow, controlled, but heavy. He looked at All Might. Then, after a long second, he forced the claws back in. He spoke through his teeth. Read it. Aizawa didn't blink. He read the address and time out loud. Logan's eyes narrowed further with every word. When Aizawa finished, Logan didn't look surprised. He looked like someone had finally pointed him toward a trail. It's them, Logan said. All Might asked gently. Who? Logan's face tightened. People who make monsters. People who think bodies are tools. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. You've seen that before. Logan didn't answer. His silence was the answer. All Might stepped closer. Logan, we will investigate. But not alone. Not reckless. Logan stared at the paper in Aizawa's hand, like it was a knife stuck in a table. He spoke low. Midnight. Aizawa's voice stayed cold. You're not going without us. Logan snapped his gaze to Aizawa. Try to stop me. Aizawa didn't flinch. I will. All Might's voice was firm now. Then we do it together. Controlled. Logan laughed once, sharp. Controlled. All Might held the stare. Yes, because we don't fight in anger. Logan's eyes went distant again, like he was watching old lights and old straps. He looked back. Fine, he said. But if anyone tries to put me on a table, I don't care what your rules are. Aizawa's voice was quiet and hard. Then don't let them. The room went still. Outside, UA looked peaceful. But the next move was already set. And everyone felt it. Like thunder held back behind teeth. Midnight in Musutafu was not quiet. It only sounded quiet, because the daytime noise was gone. Logan moved across rooftops and back alleys like he belonged to the dark. His boots didn't slip. His eyes didn't wander. He tracked the chemical stink like it was a line drawn in the air. Behind him, Aizawa moved with a capture scarf and the patience of someone who had watched too many disasters begin with one bad step. Todoroki followed too, chosen for control and calm. He didn't talk much. He listened. Deku had tried to come. Aizawa had told him no. Deku had argued. Aizawa had stared at him until the argument died. But Deku still followed anyway. Not close. Not loud. Far enough that Aizawa didn't see him at first. Deku's heart hammered as he moved from shadow to shadow. He hated breaking orders. He hated letting adults handle everything alone even more. Logan reached the address first. An old warehouse sat in a quiet industrial area. Windows were broken. The sign was half torn off. The place looked dead. Logan knew better. He smelled fresh air coming out of the cracks. He smelled machines. He smelled blood. Aizawa landed on a nearby rooftop and watched. Todoroki arrived beside him, quiet. "Any movement?" Todoroki asked. Aizawa's eyes scanned the street. Too quiet. Logan walked straight to the warehouse door. Aizawa's voice was a low warning. "Logan, wait." Logan didn't wait. He grabbed the metal handle and pulled. The door wasn't locked. It opened like someone wanted him inside. Logan stepped in. The warehouse was dark, empty. Dusty floor, old crates, but the smell was stronger inside. Logan's eyes narrowed. He crouched and touched the ground. There were faint tracks. Fresh. Aizawa slipped in behind him, scarf ready. Todoroki followed. Aizawa's voice was low. "Trap." Logan's voice was lower. "Yeah." They moved deeper. Then Logan stopped in front of a wall that looked normal. He pressed his palm to it. A hidden seam. He sniffed. "Door," Logan muttered. Aizawa stepped closer. He found a panel. He opened it. Inside was a keypad. Todoroki's eyes narrowed. "We don't have a code." Logan looked around, then down. A small camera lens blinked in the corner. Logan stared at it. "Cute," he said. His claws slid out. Aizawa tensed. "Logan!" Logan stabbed the camera and sliced it off the wall. The lens died. A moment later, the keypad beeped on its own. The door unlocked with a soft click. Aizawa's eyes hardened. "They're letting us in." Logan's jaw tightened. "Then we walk in ready." They stepped through. The air changed at once. It was colder, cleaner, like a hospital. The hallway lights were dim, but not off. Todoroki's breath came slow. "This is not abandoned." Aizawa's scarf lifted slightly. "Stay tight." Logan walked forward with no fear, only focus. They passed doors with small windows. Behind one window, Logan saw a metal table. Straps. His stomach twisted. He kept walking anyway. At the end of the hall, the floor opened into a larger space. A lab. Steel. Glass. Tanks. Wires. And cages. Deku, who had followed and now stood at the back of the hall, felt his blood turn cold. He wanted to run away. He also wanted to throw up. Because in one cage, he saw a shape that looked like a person. But it wasn't a person anymore. It was a Nomu in early stages. Tubes ran into it. Its chest rose and fell like it was sleeping. Todoroki's eyes narrowed. His voice was tight. "This is where they make them." Aizawa's jaw clenched. "Yes." Logan didn't speak. He stared at the cages. Then his gaze went to a corner where a pile of torn hero costumes lay like trash. He breathed in. His hands shook once. Then the shaking stopped. His face went blank in a way that scared Deku more than anger would have. Aizawa noticed. "Logan." Logan didn't look away. "I know this smell." Todoroki watched him carefully. "You've been in a place like this." Logan's voice was flat. "Worse." Aizawa took one step forward. We need evidence. We need to shut it down." A soft clap echoed from the shadows. Slow, polite. A speaker crackled. A cheerful voice filled the lab. "Welcome," it said. "You arrived right on time." Todoroki's eyes narrowed. "A recording?" Logan's eyes scanned. Aizawa's voice was sharp. "Show yourself." The speaker chuckled. "No need." "Not yet." Logan's claws slid out with a clean sound. "Talk," Logan growled. The speaker's tone stayed cheerful. "So direct. That is what makes you interesting." Aizawa's eyes hardened. "Who are you?" The speaker paused, like it enjoyed the question. Then it said, "A man who builds solutions." Todoroki's eyes narrowed more. "A scientist." Logan's voice went low. "Garaki." The name came out like a knife. Aizawa's gaze snapped to Logan. "You know him?" Logan's eyes stayed on the cages. "I know his kind." The speaker laughed softly. "Wrong name. Right spirit." Aizawa's scarf whipped out toward the ceiling, snagging a hidden camera and tearing it down. Another camera popped out from a corner and started recording. Logan moved fast and stabbed it too. A third camera showed itself. Todoroki froze it with a quick burst of ice. The speaker sighed like a teacher with naughty kids. "Oh dear, you are rude guests." Then the lab lights turned red. An alarm began to pulse, and doors slammed shut behind them. Aizawa's eyes widened. "Lockdown." Todoroki's breath fogged. "We're sealed in." Logan sniffed the air. His eyes narrowed. "We're not alone." From the shadows between cages, figures stepped out. Guards. Not normal guards. Their bodies were thick. Their skin looked tough. Their eyes were dull. Nomu-like, but smaller. Faster. And they moved like trained animals. The first one lunged at Logan without a sound. Logan met it with a punch that would break most jaws. The guard's head snapped back. Then it kept coming. Logan's claws flashed out and cut across the guard's chest. Deep. The guard didn't scream. It grabbed Logan by the shoulder and tried to slam him into the floor. Logan twisted and drove his claws into the guard's forearm, breaking grip. Aizawa's scarf shot out and wrapped another guard's neck, yanking it back. Todoroki threw ice under a third guard's feet, freezing the ground so it slipped and crashed. Deku stood frozen at the edge of the doorway, heart pounding so hard he thought it would burst. Aizawa's eyes snapped toward him. "Midoriya!" Deku flinched. He stepped in, shame and fear mixing in his chest. "I'm sorry," Deku whispered. Aizawa didn't have time to yell. "Help Todoroki!" Aizawa snapped. Deku nodded hard and rushed forward. A guard charged Todoroki from the side. Deku planted his foot, used a controlled burst of one for all, and shoved the guard away. The shove cracked the floor where Deku pushed off. Deku gasped at the impact. The guard slammed into a cage wall and dented it. It still got up. Deku's eyes widened. "They don't stop!" Logan slammed a guard's face into a metal table. Once. Twice. It still tried to rise. Logan growled. "Stay down!" He pinned it with his knee and stabbed his claws into the floor beside its head, not into the head. A warning. It kept reaching for him. Logan's jaw tightened. He punched it again and again until the body finally went limp. Aizawa watched that with a tight expression. He didn't like the violence. He also knew it was the only language these things understood. Todoroki's voice was steady. "We can't keep fighting endless bodies." Aizawa scanned the room. "Find the control center." Logan's eyes flicked to a door on the far side. He smelled fresher air behind it. "Over there," Logan said. He sprinted. A guard lunged to block him. Logan slid low, claws scraping the floor, and cut the guard's Achilles area. The guard dropped, legs failing. Logan didn't stop. He ran past. Aizawa and Todoroki followed. Deku followed too, breathing hard. They reached the door. It was locked. Logan slammed his shoulder into it. It didn't budge. Logan's claws slid out fully. Aizawa tensed. Careful! There could be… Logan sliced the lock clean. The door swung open. Inside was a smaller room filled with screens and switches, and in the center, a glass case held a small device. It was round, dark, and faintly glowing, like it held trapped light. Logan froze. He stared at it like it was a ghost. Deku stepped beside him. What is that? Logan's voice was low. That smell. That feeling. It's like the tear. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. A portal device. Todoroki's jaw tightened. So they can open it on purpose. Before anyone could move, a new voice echoed from behind them. A slow clap again. But this time, it wasn't a speaker. It was real hands. A man stepped into the doorway, smiling too wide. He was tall, thin, and wore a coat like a doctor. His glasses caught the red light. Dr. Garaki. He looked delighted. Wonderful, Garaki said. You found the toy. Logan's claws lifted. Garaki's smile widened more. Yes, yes. That reaction, that anger, it makes the data better. Aizawa's eyes snapped into a hard stare. Garaki. Garaki blinked. Ah, you know my name. Aizawa didn't answer. His scarf moved like a snake. Todoroki's hand rose, ice ready. Deku's stomach dropped. He knew this man's face from police briefings, from whispers. Logan stepped forward, voice like gravel. You. Garaki's smile stayed. Me. Logan's eyes burned. You sent the Nomu. Garaki lifted a hand like he was confessing to a small prank. Yes, and you did beautifully. Logan's claws shook slightly. Aizawa stepped between Logan and Garaki just a little, not to protect Garaki, but to control the moment. Why invite us? Aizawa asked. Garaki's eyes glittered. Because I wanted to see you in person. He looked at Logan like Logan was a rare animal. And, Garaki added, because my master wanted you to hear an offer. Logan's jaw tightened. Offer. Garaki nodded. Yes. An answer. Logan's breathing slowed, heavy. Garaki pointed at the glass case. That device is unstable. It pulls. It tears. It calls. Deku swallowed. You caused the tear in the sky. Garaki laughed. Not exactly. The world is full of thin places. But we can poke them. Logan's eyes narrowed. Why? Garaki's smile turned proud. Because if we can pull something like you, we can pull anything. Logan took one step forward. Aizawa's scarf snapped out like lightning, not at Logan, but at Garaki. Garaki simply stepped back. And in that same instant, the wall behind Garaki cracked. A hand burst through, huge, clawed, black and wet like fresh paint. A high-end Nomu pulled itself into the room. Its head turned, eyes sharp, and it smiled. Not a dumb smile, a hungry one. Deku's blood ran cold. Todoroki's eyes widened. Aizawa's breath caught, because this was not a simple guard. This was a monster built to fight heroes. Garaki's smile became almost loving. Isn't it beautiful? The high end moved. It didn't charge straight. It vanished to the side like a blur. Aizawa barely threw his scarf up in time. The high end slammed into the scarf and ripped through it like it was paper. Aizawa's eyes widened. It's strong! Logan moved before anyone finished speaking. He threw himself between the high end and Deku. The high end's claw swung down. Logan lifted his arms and crossed them. Metal met claw. The hit drove Logan's boots through the floor. Concrete broke. Logan's bones cracked. Logan's teeth clenched. He didn't go down. He shoved upward and shoved the high end back. The high end landed light, grinning. It sniffed the air. Then it spoke in a rough voice that shouldn't have existed. Smells different. Deku froze. It talks. Garaki clapped softly. Yes, it thinks. The high end lunged again. Logan met it. Claws flashed. The high end dodged and twisted like it knew how blades worked. Logan's first slash cut only air. The high end kicked Logan in the ribs and sent him sliding across the floor. Logan hit a metal console, denting it. The screens flickered. Aizawa's eyes snapped into a rusher, locking on the high end. The high end's body jerked slightly, like something inside it stuttered. Its movement slowed for a fraction of a second. Logan saw the opening. He launched forward, claws out, and drove them into the high end's shoulder joint. Deep. The high end snarled, not in pain, but in anger. It grabbed Logan's wrist with crushing force. Logan's bones cracked again. Logan growled. He didn't pull away. He leaned in and headbutted the high end right in the face. Once. Twice. The high end's head snapped back. Todoroki threw ice up from the floor, locking the high end's legs in place for a moment. Deku rushed to the glass case, eyes wide. "We have to destroy the device," Aizawa snapped without looking away from the high end. "Do it!" Deku reached for the glass. Then he stopped, because his hand shook, because the device looked like it held a storm. Logan shouted, "Kid!" Deku flinched. Logan's voice was harsh but clear. "Don't touch it. Break the glass from a distance." Deku swallowed hard and nodded. He stepped back and used a controlled flick of power to punch the glass. The case shattered. The device rolled across the floor, glowing brighter. The air around it vibrated. Todoroki's eyes widened. "It's reacting." Garaki's smile vanished for the first time. "No! Be careful!" The high end's head snapped toward the device like it could sense it too. It lunged past Logan and Todoroki. Aizawa's scarf whipped out again, wrapping the high end's arm, trying to slow it. The high end ripped free. It reached for the device. Logan tackled it. They slammed into the floor together. Logan's claws pinned the high end's shoulder. The high end bit down on Logan's arm. Teeth sank deep. Logan didn't scream. He snarled and drove his claws into the high end's ribs. Sparks flew, not from metal, from something inside. The high end twitched, then laughed through blood. "You don't stop." Logan's voice was low. "Neither do you." Garaki backed toward the doorway, eyes wild. "You're ruining everything." Aizawa's eyes stayed locked on the high end, forcing its quirks to stutter when he could. Todoroki raised one hand and blasted fire, not at the high end's body, but at the floor around it, heating the ice so it turned into steam and pressure, forcing the monster to shift. Deku grabbed a fallen metal rod and used it like a lever to push the glowing device away from everyone. The device skidded, humming louder. The air tore slightly above it, like a tiny rip trying to form. Deku's eyes widened. "It's opening again?" Logan saw it too. Aizawa's jaw clenched. If that opens, who knows what comes through? Logan made a decision with no hesitation. He drove his claws into the device. The metal met the glowing shell. The device screamed, not with sound, but with vibration so strong it made everyone's teeth hurt. Light exploded out. Logan's body took the full blast. His skin burned. His jacket smoked. He didn't pull away. He shoved the claws deeper and twisted like he was breaking a lock. The device cracked. The glow sputtered. The tiny rip in the air shivered and snapped shut. Then the device went dark. Logan stumbled back, smoke rising from his arms. His flesh was burned. But even as Deku stared in horror, the burns began to close. Slowly. Not like before. Logan's healing was still fighting something in his blood. The high end surged up again, furious. Aizawa's eyes were watering from strain, but he held a rusher as long as he could. "Now!" Aizawa barked. Todoroki slammed a wall of ice down on the high end from above, trapping it in a thick block. The high end roared inside, the ice cracking. Logan stepped forward, breathing hard. His eyes were darker now. Not rage. Something colder. He looked at Garaki. Garaki stood frozen in the doorway, mouth open. Logan stalked toward him. Garaki backed up, hands raised. Wait! Wait! We can talk. We can… Logan's claws slid out. Garaki's eyes went wide with real fear. Aizawa snapped. Logan! Logan stopped. His claws hovered. For a moment, Deku thought Logan would ignore them. Then Logan's jaw tightened. He forced the claws back in with visible effort. He spoke low, like each word hurt. I'm not killing in front of a kid's. Deku's chest tightened. Garaki used that moment. He slapped a button on the wall, and a smoke screen burst out, thick and sharp. Burning eyes. Aizawa cursed. Todoroki's fire flared to push smoke away, but the vents sucked it and spread it through the room. Garaki's footsteps ran down the hall. Logan turned, ready to chase. Aizawa grabbed his arm. No! The high end! The ice block exploded. The high end burst out laughing. Again! It roared. It lunged toward the hallway where Garaki fled, not to protect him, to hunt. Logan snarled and sprinted after it. Aizawa and Todoroki followed. Deku followed too, coughing, eyes burning, heart hammering. The chase tore through the lab halls. The high end moved like a nightmare, bouncing off walls and ceilings. Logan moved like a bullet with a brain, always cutting angles, always aiming for joints and tendons. Aizawa kept trying to lock erasure on it, but the monster was too fast, too smart. It kept breaking line of sight. Todoroki used ice to block exits and fire to force it to choose paths. They reached a larger chamber, and there, at the far end, stood another group. Not lab guards, not UA, the League of Villains. Shigaraki stood with his hands in his pockets, head tilted, eyes half-lidded like he was bored. Dabi leaned against a wall, blue fire licking around his fingers like a lazy threat. Toga smiled too wide, knife in hand, eyes shining. Shigaraki looked past everyone and locked eyes on Logan. His lips twitched. So you're the new problem, Shigaraki said. Logan's nostrils flared. Shigaraki smelled like decay and hate. Logan hated him on instinct. The high end paused too, like it wasn't sure who to attack first. Shigaraki clicked his tongue. Doctor's toys are everywhere. Dabi's eyes flicked to the high end. That thing's ugly. Toga bounced on her toes. And the Clawman is cute in a scary way. Deku's blood turned cold. Aizawa's voice went sharp. Students behind me! Deku froze, then obeyed. Todoroki's eyes narrowed at Dabi. Shigaraki's gaze stayed on Logan. You broke the device, Logan growled. Yeah. Shigaraki smiled like it made him happy. Good. I didn't want him having that. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. You're here for Garaki. Shigaraki's smile widened. I'm here because I hate people who think they own the world. His eyes turned distant for a moment, then snapped back. And because All for One wants to meet you. Logan's jaw clenched. The words hit like a hidden blade. All for One. Logan didn't know the name, but he knew what it meant. A man behind the monsters. A man behind the cages. Shigaraki stepped forward. Come with us, or don't. Either way, this world is going to change around you. Logan's claws slid out again. Aizawa's scarf lifted. Todoroki's hand rose, cold and heat ready. The high end suddenly moved. It lunged at Shigaraki. Shigaraki didn't move fast. He didn't need to. He simply reached out and touched the floor. Decay spread in a crawling wave. The concrete crumbled. The high end's foot hit the decayed ground and sank. Its balance broke for a second. That second was enough for Dabi to flick his fingers and blast blue fire at the high end's side. The high end howled, skin burning. Toga laughed, delighted by chaos. Logan's eyes widened. He realized something fast. These villains didn't come to help UA. They came to steal control of the situation, and the high end didn't belong to them either. The room became a three-way war in one heartbeat. Aizawa snapped, "We don't engage all of them. We get out." Todoroki's eyes stayed on Dabi. "They won't let us." Logan's gaze locked on Shigaraki. "You're the leader." Shigaraki tilted his head. "I'm the one who hates you the most for being interesting." Logan stepped forward, ready to cut him down. Then he smelled something else. Fresh fear. Fresh blood. Not in this room. Behind another door. Hostages. Or lab victims. Logan's jaw tightened. He looked away from Shigaraki. He ran toward the side door with the smell. Aizawa shouted, "Logan!" Logan didn't stop. Deku's eyes widened. "He's going!" Aizawa's voice was sharp. "Todoroki, with me! Midoriya, stay back!" Deku moved anyway. Todoroki sprinted with Aizawa. They followed Logan through the side door into a holding area. There were cages. Inside were people. Not Nomu. Humans. Some were unconscious. Some were awake and shaking. A young man with bandages looked up with wide, empty eyes. A woman pressed her face to the bars, whispering, "Please, please." Deku's throat closed. Todoroki's fists clenched. Aizawa's face went cold in a different way. Logan walked to the bars, hands tight. He didn't speak for a second. Then he said, low and rough, "Yeah," like he had expected it. He turned to Aizawa. "Open them." Aizawa moved fast, scanning for traps, then using his scarf and tools to break locks. Todoroki froze the hinges to crack them clean without tearing hands. Deku rushed to support people who fell out. The injured stared at Logan's claws with fear. Logan retracted them. He forced his voice softer. "It's okay," he said, awkward and rough. "You're out." The words sounded strange coming from him, but the injured heard the meaning. From behind them, the lab shook. The high end roared. Fire blasted. Decay spread. Logan turned his head, listening. Aizawa finished unlocking the last cage. "We leave now." Logan nodded once. He picked up the unconscious man like he weighed nothing and threw him over his shoulder. Todoroki carried another. Deku helped support a woman who couldn't walk well. They moved fast through the halls. Behind them, the alarms kept pulsing. In the main chamber, Shigaraki's voice echoed faintly, angry now. "Enough! We're not here to play with toys!" Dabi laughed, wild. "Then stop talking and burn it!" The high end screamed again, but it sounded amused too, like it loved the mess. Aizawa led the group toward an emergency exit, but the door ahead was blocked by fallen metal. Todoroki raised a hand, about to freeze and crack it. Then Logan stepped forward and simply punched. The metal bent. He punched again. It tore open enough to crawl through. Deku stared at him, shocked. "You're that strong." Logan didn't look back. "Keep moving." They spilled out into the night air through a service tunnel. Outside, rain had started. Light rain. Cold on hot skin. They carried the injured into the alley behind the warehouse. Aizawa's eyes scanned for heroes and for villains. He spoke into his comm. "This is a Razorhead," he said. "We found a lab. We found victims. We need medics now." Static answered. Then a voice. "Copy." Aizawa's jaw tightened. "Hurry!" Inside the warehouse, a deep boom shook the ground. Blue fire rose through a broken window. A scream followed. Then silence. Logan's eyes narrowed. He smelled smoke. He smelled blood. He smelled Garaki getting away. Logan started forward. Aizawa grabbed his shoulder hard. "No!" Logan's eyes flashed. He ran. Aizawa's voice was cold. "And if you chase, you leave these people." Logan's jaw clenched. His hands shook once again. Then he forced them still. He looked down at the injured people, shaking in the rain. He looked at Deku and Todoroki, faces pale but steady. He swallowed something bitter. "Fine," Logan said. He crouched near one of the victims. checking their breathing like he had done it 1,000 times. Aizawa watched him do it. The distrust didn't vanish. But something shifted, because Logan could have chased his anger, and he didn't. Not this time. By morning, the warehouse was surrounded. Police tape, hero teams, medical vans. But inside, the lab was partly burned and partly collapsed. Evidence existed, but it was messy. Too messy. Nezu stood with his paws behind his back, watching men in suits talk to heroes like they were bossing them. Hawks stood nearby, wings tucked, eyes tired. Endeavor had arrived too, his presence like heat even in the rain. He stared at the wreckage with an angry face. They had a lab under our city. Hawks shrugged slightly. Yeah, that's the worst part. It's been there a while. Endeavor's fists clenched. And you didn't know. Hawks's eyes sharpened. You think I didn't want to? These things hide deep. Endeavor snorted and looked away. Aizawa walked up with Todoroki and Deku behind him. Deku looked like he hadn't slept. Aizawa looked like he had slept even less. Nezu's voice was calm. I am glad you returned alive. Aizawa nodded once. Nezu looked toward Deku. Midoriya. Deku flinched. Yes, sir? Nezu's smile didn't change. We will discuss your decision later. Deku's face burned. Yes, sir. Nezu then looked past them. Logan stood near a wall, arms crossed, rain dripping from his hair. His jacket was new now, but he still looked like he didn't belong. People in suits stared at him like he was a bomb. Logan stared back like he was waiting for someone to be stupid. A man from the commission stepped forward, smiling too politely. Logan, the man said, we appreciate your assistance. But from this point forward, we will need you to come with us for formal evaluation. Logan's eyes narrowed. No. The man's smile tightened. This is not a request. All Might stepped forward. He will not be taken without cause. The commission man's eyes flicked to All Might. This is cause. He is an unregistered anomaly involved in a major incident. We must secure him. Logan's jaw clenched. Aizawa's scarf lifted slightly. Hawk sighed quietly, like he had been waiting for this. He stepped between them with a smile that looked friendly, but felt sharp. Hey, Hawk said, how about we all take a breath? The commission man glared. Hawks! Hawks's smile stayed. Yeah, I hear you. He leaned closer to the man, voice still polite. If you push right now, you'll get a fight in front of cameras. You want that? The man's face twitched. Hawks's smile didn't move. Because the public already thinks he's scary. If you treat him like a prisoner, you make him look like a prisoner. And then he acts like one. The man swallowed. All Might added, calm but firm. We will cooperate with investigation, but Logan remains under UA supervision. The man's jaw clenched. Nezu tilted his head. I'm sure the commission trusts UA's judgment. The man looked like he wanted to say no, but he didn't. He nodded stiffly. Temporarily. Logan's eyes narrowed. Don't even think about it. Hawks leaned toward Logan, voice low. See? I told you. Cages. Logan didn't answer. He just looked at the ruined building again. He didn't get his answers. Not fully. Garaki escaped. The device was destroyed. But Logan had learned one thing for sure. This world had labs. This world had monster makers. And someone powerful was watching him like he was a prize. As they left the scene, whispers followed. Some heroes looked at Logan with respect. Some looked with fear. Some looked with plans. And somewhere far away, a man in the dark smiled again. Because even without the device, the trap had worked. Logan had stepped into the board, and now the board would move around him. 2 weeks passed, but the air at UA still felt tight. Not because the students stopped laughing. They did laugh. They still ran to class. They still argued about training scores. They still tried to act normal. The tight feeling came from the adults. More cameras, more guards, more meetings in quiet rooms. More people in suits visiting the front gate with polite smiles and hard eyes. Logan noticed all of it. He didn't say much about it. He just moved like a man who expected the walls to close in. Before sunrise, when the campus was mostly dark, Logan went to the far training field. He ran laps with a steady pace that didn't look fast at first. Then he sped up without warning, like a switch flipped inside him. He didn't run like Ida, straight and perfect. He ran like an animal that had learned where the traps were. He stopped near a fence line and did pull-ups on the metal bar until the bolt squeaked. He didn't count out loud. He didn't stop for comfort. His breath came out in small clouds. When he finally dropped down, he heard steps behind him. Logan didn't turn. "Morning," Shota Aizawa said. Logan's voice was flat. "It's still night." Aizawa walked closer, hands in his pockets, scarf hanging loose. "You're up." Logan snorted. "So are you." Aizawa's eyes looked more tired than usual, but they always look tired. "You've been doing this every morning." Logan rolled his shoulders. "Keeps my head quiet." Aizawa nodded once, like he understood too well. "You're healing slower than before." Logan's jaw tightened. Yeah. The toxin from the dart was mostly gone now. His body had chewed through it like it chewed through everything, but it had taught him a lesson. Someone in this world could build tools meant for him. Aizawa stopped a few steps away. "We're going to spar." Logan finally looked over. "That a request?" Aizawa's expression didn't change. "No." Logan let out a slow breath. "Fine." They moved to the center of the field. No crowd, no cheering. No cameras close enough for Logan to notice. Just two men who did not trust each other, but also did not want anyone else to get hurt if things went bad. Aizawa lifted his scarf slightly. "Rules." Logan's mouth twitched. "Of course." Aizawa spoke like a teacher. "No claws." Logan held his hands up, palms open. "Wasn't planning to." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "No broken bones." Logan stared. "Then don't get hit." Aizawa didn't smile. "And if you lose control, I will stop you." Logan's eyes sharpened. "Try." Aizawa's hair lifted as his quirk activated, his gaze locked onto Logan. Logan felt the pressure again, like someone staring straight into his bones. It didn't shut him off, but it still mattered. It told Logan Aizawa was serious. Aizawa moved first. The scarf snapped out and looped around Logan's wrist, trying to jerk him off balance. Logan stepped into it instead of away from it. He yanked, pulled Aizawa forward, and tried to shove him to the ground. Aizawa rolled and used the momentum. He swung the scarf again, wrapping Logan's ankle this time. Logan's foot got pulled. He started to go down. He caught himself with one hand, flipped his weight, and kicked the scarf away. Aizawa's eyes widened a fraction. Logan saw it and felt a small, cold satisfaction. Then, Aizawa was in close. Not strong like All Might. Not loud like Bakugo. Just clean and fast. Aizawa aimed for Logan's throat with a palm strike. Logan blocked. Aizawa twisted and hit Logan's ribs. Logan took the hit and didn't flinch. He grabbed Aizawa's sleeve and yanked him in, then used a shoulder bump to throw him offline. Aizawa slid back, feet steady. The scarf snapped again. This time it wrapped Logan's upper arm, then his chest, like a snake trying to coil him. Logan felt the pressure tighten. He didn't panic. He planted his boots and flexed hard. The scarf didn't break. It was too strong for that. But Logan shifted his body and took a small step into the coil, then another, turning the scarf into a lever. Aizawa felt it and let go before Logan could pull him forward. They reset, breathing hard. Aizawa's voice was low. "You've been trained." Logan's voice was lower. "You think?" Aizawa watched him for a beat, then said something that surprised Logan. "You're holding back," Aizawa said. Logan's eyes narrowed. "No claws," Aizawa answered. "Not just that." Logan didn't reply. He was holding back. Because UA had kids. Because if he ever lost control here, he would never forgive himself. Aizawa lowered his scarf. "That's enough." Logan's chest rose and fell. "You satisfied?" Aizawa's eyes stayed on him. "No, but I learned something." Logan wiped sweat off his brow with the back of his hand. "Yeah? What?" Aizawa's voice stayed flat. "If you wanted to hurt my students, you would be harder to stop than most people I've met." Logan's jaw tightened. He didn't like hearing it said out loud. Aizawa continued, "And you still didn't choose that." Logan looked away. "Don't make it a big thing." Aizawa turned to leave. "It is a big thing." Logan watched him go, annoyed for reasons he didn't want to name. On his way back inside, he passed a group of students heading toward early training. Bakugo's eyes locked onto him. Bakugo walked right up like he owned the space. "Oi, old man." Logan didn't stop. "I'm not old." Bakugo's lip curled. "You fight like a psycho." Logan paused and slowly looked down at him. "You fight like a kid trying to prove something." Bakugo's eyes flared. "Say that again." Logan leaned closer, voice calm and sharp. "You're loud. You're strong. You're reckless. You think anger makes you brave." Bakugo clenched his fists. Sparks popped near his palms. Aizawa's voice cut in from behind like a blade. "Bakugo." Bakugo froze, but only barely. Logan didn't move away. "You want a lesson?" Logan said. "Here's one. If you lose your head, you lose the fight." Bakugo's jaw worked. He hated the words because they felt true. Logan stepped back and turned away. "Train your control," he said, "or someone will control you." Bakugo stood there, breathing hard, watching Logan walk off. Deku, standing nearby, stared with wide eyes. He didn't know if that was a warning. Or help. Or both. Later that day, Nezu called another briefing. This one had more suits. A man from the commission stood in UA's office with a smile that didn't warm his eyes. "We appreciate UA's cooperation," the man said. "But the anomaly remains unlicensed." Logan was not in the room. That was on purpose. All Might stood at Nezu's side. Hawks leaned on the wall like he wanted to be anywhere else. Aizawa sat with his arms crossed, looking like he might fall asleep and bite someone at the same time. Nezu spoke politely. "Logan is under our supervision." The commission man's smile tightened. "Supervision is not enough. We need documentation. Quirk classification, a hero name, a registry number, a tracking plan." Hawks sighed quietly. All Might's voice stayed calm. "He's not a criminal." The man's gaze flicked to All Might. "He broke a surveillance drone." Hawks lifted a hand. "To be fair, that drone got too close." The man ignored him. "He refuses tracking." Aizawa spoke flatly. "So do some of your best agents when they don't want you in their heads." The man's eyes narrowed. "Are you comparing him to an agent?" Aizawa's eyes stayed cold. "I'm comparing your methods to cages." The room went quiet. Nezu's smile stayed gentle. "We understand your concerns." The commission man leaned forward. "Then you will comply." All Might's jaw tightened. "No. We will protect him. And we will protect the students. That is our job." The man looked like he wanted to argue more. Then Hawks spoke, voice light, but sharp. "If you push this too hard, he leaves. If he leaves, you lose any chance to watch him. And if villains grab him first, you'll wish you had listened." The man's smile finally cracked. He looked at Hawks like he hated that Hawks was right. Temporary, the man said again, like it was a threat. Nezu nodded. Temporary. When the man left, Hawks didn't move for a moment. All Might looked at him. Keigo. Hawks rubbed the back of his neck. They're not going to stop. They smell a risk, and they hate risks they can't hold. Aizawa's voice was quiet. And the villains? Hawks's eyes went darker. They haven't stopped either. That same night, Logan walked the edge of campus, not inside the main paths. Outside, near the trees and fences, where the security lights made long shadows. He liked the border. Borders were honest. They told you where danger might come from. He heard the wind move through leaves. He heard distant traffic. He heard a soft buzz from something nearby and stopped. A small object sat on a concrete ledge near the fence. A phone. Not a UA phone. A burner phone. Logan stared at it. He recognized it. Hawks had left one like it 2 weeks ago. Logan hadn't taken it. He hadn't crushed it either. He had ignored it until it went away. This one hadn't gone away. Logan sniffed. It didn't smell like Hawks. It smelled like smoke and old metal and that lab stink again, faint and teasing. Logan's jaw tightened. He picked up the phone with 2 fingers like it was dirty. It vibrated in his hand. One incoming call. No number. Just a blank screen and a ringing that sounded too calm. Logan stared at it for 2 seconds, then pressed answer. He didn't speak first. A voice came through. Warm. Smooth. Patient. Logan, the voice said, like it had known him for years. Logan's eyes narrowed. Who is this? A soft chuckle. A man who understands what it means to be used. Logan's grip tightened. The plastic creaked. The voice continued. You are a difficult problem for my enemies. Logan's voice went low. Say your name. The voice paused, like it enjoyed the tension. You can call me All for One, it said. Logan's blood felt colder. He didn't know the history of that name the way heroes here did, but he knew what it was. He could hear it in the way the voice spoke, a man who thought the world was his. Logan's eyes scanned the trees. Where are you? All for One laughed softly. Not close enough for you to cut. Logan's jaw flexed. Good. All for One sounded pleased. You're brave. Or stubborn? Logan didn't answer. All for One's voice turned gentle. You want answers? Logan's nostrils flared. Yeah. I can give them, All for One said. The device you destroyed was not the only one. The tear that brought you here was not an accident. Logan's eyes narrowed. So you did it. I guided it, All for One said, calm as a teacher. Others did the work. I watched. I learned. Logan's grip tightened again. Why? All for One's voice softened. Because a man who cannot be kept down is valuable. Because your body breaks the rules of this world. Because you could change everything. Logan's voice was a growl. I don't belong here, All for One hummed. Perhaps not. But you're here. Logan's eyes hardened. What do you want? All for One didn't rush. A conversation, a meeting, and a choice. Logan waited. All for One spoke like he was offering water. You can keep living under their eyes. UA, the Commission. Heroes who smile while they build chains. Logan's jaw clenched. Or, All for One continued. You can come to me. I can give you what they cannot. Logan's voice was sharp. Which is what? Truth, All for One said. A path home, and something else. Logan's breath was steady. Say it. All for One's voice dropped lower. Peace. Logan's eyes went distant for a second. He remembered pain. Too much pain. He remembered days where peace felt like a joke. Then he snapped back. There's always a price, Logan said. All for One chuckled, like he enjoyed the line. Yes. Logan's claws slid out with a clean sound, even though nobody could see them through the phone. I'm not your weapon. All for One's voice stayed warm. Not a weapon, an ally, a partner. Logan's voice went colder. You make monsters. All for One didn't deny it. I make solutions. People call them monsters because they fear what works. Logan's eyes narrowed. You're sick. All for One sighed like he was disappointed. We could have been friends, Logan. You and I both know the world is not clean. Logan stared into the darkness beyond the fence. If you come near those kids, All for One's voice cut in, still calm. Ah, the children. Logan's chest tightened. All for One continued. You care about them. That is a weakness, but it can also be a leash. Logan's hands shook. His claws scraped lightly against the phone casing. Don't, Logan said. All for One's tone stayed gentle. Meet me. Come alone. I will show you the truth. Refuse, and you keep living with lies and chains. Accept, and I give you a way out. A location appeared on the screen like the phone had decided on its own. An old rail yard. A time, 1 hour. Logan stared at it. All for One's voice softened. 1 hour, Logan. You can walk in and walk out. No cages, just words. Logan's jaw tightened. Then the line went dead. Logan stood still in the dark. His senses roared. His mind screamed at him to hunt. But another part of him, small, stubborn, reminded him of the cages in the lab. The victims. The kids at UA who still laughed. Footsteps approached behind him. He didn't turn, but he knew who it was. Aizawa. Aizawa stopped a few steps away. You're holding a phone, he said. Logan's voice was rough. Yeah. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Who called? Logan stared at the screen again. Then he looked at Aizawa. You're big bad, Logan said. All for One. Aizawa's face tightened. His scarf lifted slightly like it wanted to fight. Offer? Aizawa asked. Logan nodded once. Answers. Way home. Peace. Aizawa's voice was cold. Trap. Logan's mouth twitched. No kidding. Aizawa stepped closer. You're not going. Logan's eyes sharpened. I have to. Aizawa's gaze didn't blink. You don't. Logan's voice rose, low and dangerous. You don't get it. I didn't come here on purpose. Someone pulled me. Someone built a door. I need to know how. Aizawa stared at him, then said quietly, and if he puts you in a cage. Logan's claws slid out again. Then I cut my way out. Aizawa's voice stayed flat. And how many people die while you do it? Logan froze. Aizawa held the stare. If you go, you don't go alone. Logan's eyes narrowed. I'm not leading you into... Aizawa cut him off. You already are, that's the point. Logan's jaw worked. Then he forced the claws back in. Fine, Logan said. But you stay out of sight. Aizawa didn't answer yes or no. He simply turned and walked. Logan watched him go. Then he headed for the gate. When he reached the front, he stopped. A small figure stood there, waiting like he had been there the whole time. Deku. Deku's eyes were wide, but he didn't back down. Are you leaving? Deku asked. Logan's voice was rough. Go to bed, kid. Deku swallowed. It's not that late. Logan stared at him. It's late enough. Deku's hands clenched. I heard the name. Logan's eyes narrowed. Who told you? Deku hesitated. I was nearby. Logan sighed like it physically hurt. You're going to get yourself killed one day. Deku's voice shook. Maybe, but I can't just watch. Logan stared at him for a long second. Then he said, Stay. Deku's eyes widened. What? Logan's tone turned sharp. You stay here. You don't follow. You don't play hero. You listen for once. Deku's face burned. He wanted to argue. Then he remembered the lab victims, crying behind bars. He remembered Logan stepping in front of them. Deku nodded, slow. Okay. Logan looked away quickly, like the moment made him uncomfortable. Good, Logan said. Then he left. The rail yard smelled like rust and wet dirt. Old tracks cut through the ground like scars. Broken train cars sat like dead animals. Logan moved through it with his head low, eyes scanning. He heard nothing. That worried him more than hearing footsteps. A soft voice came from the dark. Right on time. Logan turned. A figure stood between two train cars, not fully seen, like the darkness was hiding the details on purpose. Logan's senses tried to grab the shape. He couldn't get a clean read. No heartbeat he could trust, no clear smell. It wasn't a person standing there. It was a trick, a projection, a speaker. Something built to keep the real body far away. Logan's jaw tightened. Coward, the voice chuckled. Careful, words like that make people impatient. Logan's claws slid out. I didn't come for jokes. The figure stepped forward slightly. It still didn't make normal sound. I brought you a gift, All for One said. A small box slid across the ground toward Logan, like someone had pushed it from the shadows. Logan didn't touch it. All for One's voice stayed warm. Open it. Logan's eyes narrowed. He used one claw tip to flip the lid. Inside was a small metal tag. Not from this world. It was scratched and worn. Logan stared at it like it was a punch to the chest. His breath caught, because he recognized the feel of it. The shape, the cold metal memory. All for One's voice softened. You are not the only thing that fell through the tear. Logan's hand shook as he picked up the tag. He didn't want to show it, but he couldn't help it. His eyes went distant. All for One continued, gentle and cruel at the same time. I can show you where the door is thin again. I can open it. I can let you step through. Logan's voice came out rough. And the price? All for One laughed softly. You already know. You stop fighting me. You stop protecting the symbols that will cage you. You stand aside. Logan's claws tightened around the tag. You want me to be your guard dog? All for One's voice stayed calm. I want you to stop being their tool. Logan's eyes hardened. And be yours instead. A pause. Then All for One said, if you join me, UA stays safe. Logan's chest tightened. You're threatening kids. All for One's tone stayed polite. I'm offering protection. Logan's jaw clenched so hard his teeth hurt. Then he heard a small scrape. Not from the projection. From behind him. Logan turned fast. A shape dropped from the top of a train car. It landed without a heavy thud. Light. Balanced. A high end. Not the same one from the lab. This one had longer arms and a neck that could stretch slightly. Its eyes were sharp. Its smile was thin. It spoke in a low, excited voice. New meat. Logan stepped forward, claws up. The high end didn't rush him. It circled like it was studying. All for One's voice filled the air again. Do not kill him, my friend, he said, sounding amused. Bring him. Logan's eyes flashed. I'm not going anywhere. The high end lunged. It moved faster than most people could track. It swiped at Logan's face. Logan ducked and slashed upward. The high end twisted away like it expected the claws. It kicked Logan in the knee. Logan's leg buckled for a split second. The high end's hand snapped forward and injected something into Logan's shoulder, with a small needle built into its finger. Logan snarled and punched it in the mouth. The high end flew back and hit a train car, denting metal. Logan's shoulder burned. His healing sped up, then slowed. Not stopped, but slowed again, like mud in his veins. Logan's eyes widened. You've been working on that. All for One's voice sounded pleased. Learning. The high end sprinted in again. Logan met it head on. He didn't try to chase fancy moves. He grabbed the high end's wrist mid-swing and crushed down hard. Bones cracked. The high end laughed anyway. Its other hand grabbed Logan's throat. It slammed Logan into the side of a train car. Metal groaned. Logan's back hit so hard the air left him. The high end leaned in close, breath hot and rotten. "Hold still." Logan's claws drove into its ribs, deep. The high end jerked back, snarling. Logan ripped free and turned, but his body felt heavier. The toxin was doing its job. Not enough to stop him. Enough to make him angry. Aizawa's scarf snapped out from the shadows and wrapped the high end's neck. Aizawa landed on a rail tie behind it, eyes blazing with erasure. The high end's body stuttered for a moment, like something inside it got confused. Logan saw the opening. He rushed in and slammed his shoulder into the high end's chest, driving it backward. Hawks dropped from above a second later, feathers flaring like blades. "Miss me," Hawks called. Logan didn't look at him. "I told you stay out of sight." Hawks shrugged midair. "I did. For about 10 seconds. Aizawa's voice was sharp. "Focus!" The high end shook free of the scarf with brute force. It lunged at Hawks. Hawks scattered feathers, pulling civilians. There were 2 night workers nearby, out of the yard before they even understood danger. The high end slammed into empty air, furious. Logan moved in close and slashed at its tendons. The high end's leg buckled. It still swung, wild and strong. Aizawa's scarf snapped again, binding its arm just long enough for Logan to cut the needle finger clean off. The high end screamed, then laughed again like it loved pain. All for One's voice returned, still calm. "You refuse words," he said. "So you will learn through force." Logan looked toward the projection, eyes burning. "You're not even here." All for One chuckled. "Does that matter?" The high end suddenly stopped fighting them and turned its head toward the city. Then it sprinted, not away from danger, toward UA. Logan's stomach dropped. Aizawa's eyes widened. "It's going to the students." Hawks cursed under his breath and launched after it. Logan moved too, faster than he thought he could while poisoned. He cut angles through the yard, leaping over rails, landing hard, sprinting again. The high end was fast, but Logan's senses were sharper. He could hear the pattern of its steps. He predicted the next turn. He got ahead by taking a shorter route through a broken fence. He met the high end at the exit road. It tried to dart past him. Logan grabbed it by the hair and slammed its head into the asphalt. Once, twice. The high end's skull cracked. It still tried to rise. Logan roared, raw and furious, and drove his claws into the ground, pinning the high end's arm under the blades. Then he leaned close, voice low and deadly. "You don't go near kids," Logan said. The high end smiled through blood. "He told me." Logan punched it again. Aizawa landed beside Logan, scarf wrapping the high end's legs this time. "We need to end this," Aizawa said. Hawks hovered above, feathers ready, eyes scanning for more threats. Logan's shoulder burned. His healing crawled. He could feel his body fighting the toxin like it was chewing glass. He looked up toward the train yard. The projection was gone. All for One had already left the conversation. Logan's jaw tightened. Aizawa's voice was tight. "He wanted you to choose." Logan stared at the high end pinned under him. He didn't want to admit it, but Aizawa was right. It wasn't a simple attack. It was a test. Hawks drifted down, voice quieter now. "We should move. If he sent one high end, there could be more." Logan nodded once. Then he did something that surprised both heroes. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the small metal tag again. He looked at it. His eyes hardened. Then he threw it into the mud and stomped it down until it disappeared. Hawks blinked. "You sure about that?" Logan's voice was rough. "He doesn't get to hold my past." Aizawa's eyes narrowed, and for a second, There was something like respect in them. Logan stood up, breathing hard. The high end jerked and tried to grab his ankle. Logan looked down, tired and furious. He raised one claw. Aizawa's voice cut in, sharp. "Logan!" Logan froze, not because he was scared of Aizawa, because he heard the students' faces in his head. Deku, Todoroki, Uraraka, kids who didn't need to see a man get ripped apart. Logan lowered his hand. He retracted the claws. Then he grabbed the high end by the throat and slammed it into the road again until it went limp. Not dead. Down. Hawks exhaled slowly. "Okay, that's controlled." Logan didn't answer. His body swayed slightly. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "You're drugged." Logan wiped blood off his mouth. "I'm fine." Hawks tilted his head. "That's what people say right before they fall." Logan growled, but he didn't argue. They moved back toward UA together, not as friends, not as a team with matching shirts, but as three people who understood the same thing now. This had become bigger than one man's pride. The next morning, UA's office felt like a courtroom. The commission man was back again, smile sharp, eyes hungry. "This proves my point," he said. "He's a magnet for high-level threats. He must be secured." Logan stood in the room this time. He didn't sit. He stared at the man like he was looking at a cage with a face. All Might stood beside Logan. Nezu sat on his desk like a polite king. Aizawa leaned on the wall, scarf loose, eyes tired. Hawk stood near the window, arms crossed. The commission man looked at Logan. "You left campus. You engaged an enemy. You refused formal oversight." Logan's voice was low. "Your oversight is a leash." The man's smile tightened. "And your freedom endangers children." Logan's eyes flashed. "I stopped it from reaching the children." The man lifted a hand. "Only because you were there. That is the problem. You are the reason it came." Logan's jaw clenched. For 1 second, the words almost landed, because a part of Logan believed them. Then All Might spoke, calm and firm. "That is not how blame works." The commission man turned to him. All Might didn't let him steer. The villains chose to attack. The villains built monsters. The villains used our city as a lab. We do not punish someone for being targeted by evil. Nezu's voice was pleasant. "Also, if you remove Logan from UA, the villains will not stop." The man's eyes narrowed. "You can't know that." Nezu smiled softly. "I can predict it." Hawks added, voice light. "And if you take him, they'll just hit you instead. You ready for that?" The man's lips pressed thin. He looked at Logan again, eyes cold. "You will be registered." Logan's claws slid out a fraction. Aizawa's scarf lifted. All Might's voice became sharper. "Enough." Silence fell. Logan breathed out slowly and forced the claws back in. He looked at the man. "I'm not your prisoner," Logan said, "and I'm not your hero." The commission man's smile turned mean. "Then what are you?" Logan paused. He thought of the lab victims he carried out. He thought of the high end sprinting toward UA. He thought of All for One's voice offering peace like poison. Logan answered with simple truth. "I'm the thing standing between kids and monsters," he said. Aizawa's eyes narrowed slightly, and Logan could feel the weight of that statement, because now Logan had said it in front of everyone. Nezu spoke gently, like he was closing a deal. "Logan will remain at UA under our terms. He will not be forced into a cage. In exchange, he will inform staff before leaving campus." Logan looked at Nezu. "No tracker." Nezu nodded. "No tracker?" The commission man stared at them, anger in his eyes. Then he looked at Hawks, who gave him a small, warning smile. Finally, the man nodded stiffly. "Temporary." Logan didn't blink. "Keep saying that." I'm still not going. When the suits left, the air in the room loosened a little. Logan turned toward the door. Aizawa's voice stopped him. "Logan." Logan paused. Aizawa stepped closer, voice low so only Logan could hear. "You did the right thing last night." Logan's jaw tightened. "Don't." Aizawa ignored that. "You didn't take his deal. You didn't lead the fight toward UA. You stopped it." Logan stared at the floor for a second. "Yeah." Aizawa's eyes stayed on him. "You can stay here. But you follow one rule." Logan looked up. "Which?" Aizawa's voice was flat. "You warn us. You don't disappear." Logan stared at him. Then he gave a small nod. "Fine." All Might watched that exchange and felt something warm and sad in his chest. Trust didn't arrive like a speech. Sometimes it arrived like a tired nod between two stubborn men. That evening, Deku found Logan by the training field again. Logan was alone, sitting on a low bench, elbows on knees, staring at the grass like it might give him answers. Deku approached slowly. "Hey," Deku said. Logan didn't look up. "You were supposed to stay." Deku swallowed. "I did. This time." Logan snorted softly. Deku stood beside the bench and looked out at the field. "Are you going to leave someday?" Logan's eyes stayed forward. "Maybe." Deku's chest tightened. "Do you want to go home?" Logan didn't answer right away. He remembered the tag under the mud. He remembered the offer. He remembered the word peace. Then he spoke, quiet. "I don't know what home is." Deku's eyes widened. Logan finally looked at him. His face was rough. His eyes were tired. But there was honesty there. "This place," Logan said, nodding at the lights of the dorms. "It's loud." Deku managed a small smile. "Yeah." Logan's mouth twitched. "And you kids are annoying." Deku laughed once, nervous. "We get that a lot." Logan looked away again. "But you're trying." Deku's smile faded into something serious. "So are you." Logan grunted like he didn't want credit. Deku hesitated, then asked the thing that had been burning inside him. "Are you going to be a hero here?" Logan stared at the field, then at the sky above it. "No," he said. Deku's face fell a little. Logan added, "But I'll help." Deku's eyes lifted again. Logan's voice stayed low, rough, honest. "I'm not wearing a cape. I'm not picking a hero name. I'm not doing your slogans." Deku nodded quickly. "That's okay." Logan stood up. "Good." He took one step, then paused. He didn't face Deku when he spoke again. "If you want to live," Logan said, "learn to tell the difference between a fight you can win and a fight you have to survive." Deku swallowed. "Okay." Logan walked off into the dark edge of campus, shoulders tight, like he was walking patrol without calling it patrol. Deku watched him go, heart full of mixed feelings. Fear, respect, and a strange kind of hope. Because Logan had every reason to walk away, and he was still here. Night settled over UA like a blanket. Rain started again, light and steady. Logan stood near the tree line, just outside the brightest lights, letting the rain cool his skin. He had a small cloth in his hand. He wiped his knuckles clean. Then he wiped his palms. He didn't need to clean his claws. They slid out and in like part of his breath. But the habit helped his mind. He listened. Dorm lights flickered behind windows. Some students were still awake, whispering, laughing, talking about tomorrow's training. Someone shouted, "Plus Ultra," in the distance like it was a joke, and another voice yelled, "Shut up." Logan's mouth twitched. He didn't like slogans, but he liked that kids could still be dumb and loud. It meant the monsters hadn't won. He felt someone approach, footsteps calm and familiar. Aizawa stopped beside him under the edge of a roof, so the rain didn't hit his face as much. For a moment, they said nothing. Then Aizawa spoke. "The Commission is going to keep pushing." Logan's voice was quiet. "Let them." Aizawa's eyes stayed forward. "All for One will keep pushing too." Logan's jaw tightened. "Yeah." Aizawa glanced at Logan. "He offered you something." Logan didn't deny it. "He offered lies with a pretty bow." Aizawa nodded once. "Good." Logan stared at the wet grass. "He thinks I'm a tool." Aizawa's voice was flat. "Everyone thinks powerful people are tools. Heroes get used. Villains get used. Even teachers get used." Logan looked at him. "And you?" Aizawa's eyes narrowed slightly. "I get used too." Logan breathed out slowly. Aizawa added, quieter, "But I choose what I'm used for." Logan stared at the rain. He thought of cages. He thought of kids. He thought of the high end trying to sprint toward UA. He thought of himself standing in the way. Logan's voice came out rough. "I'm not staying because I like it here." Aizawa didn't react. "I know." Logan continued, "I'm staying because if I leave, he comes for you." Aizawa's eyes stayed on the dark tree line. "He'll come either way." Logan's jaw clenched. "Then I'll be here either way." Aizawa looked at him for a long second. Then he said, "That's almost heroic." Logan gave him a look that could peel paint. "Don't." Aizawa's mouth twitched, the closest thing to a smile. "Fine." They stood in silence again. The rain kept falling. In the far distance, somewhere in the city, a siren wailed and then faded. Logan reached into his pocket and pulled out the burner phone. It was off. He had turned it off earlier. He looked at it like he hated it. Then he didn't crush it. He slid it back into his pocket. Aizawa noticed and didn't comment. Logan looked toward the dorm windows again. Small lights. Small lives. He didn't belong in this world. But the world didn't ask permission when it pulled him in. Logan turned away from the lights and faced the dark border again, feet planted, shoulders set. He wasn't a symbol. He wasn't a poster. He wasn't a clean story. He was a hard answer standing in the rain. And for now, that was enough.